with Be Green with Amy.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Be Green with Amy. I'm Amy. After adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle, my hubby Rick and I lost over 130 pounds. Now I coach others on their plant-based journey. Just Task Voice. Let's welcome our guest.
Do you want to enjoy the holidays without compromising your health goals? Esther is here to share her expert strategies for staying plant-based and thriving through the season. At age 72, Esther lost 130 pounds. Please click like to help Be Green with Amy. Welcome, author of From Donuts to Potatoes, Esther Loveridge.
Greetings, Green Warrior, and welcome back, Esther.
Oh, thank you for having me come back. It's just always so wonderful to see you and to share our life and what's going on with us on a daily basis. It's so wonderful. Thank you, Amy.
We have such a fan club, and a lot of people are joining in now and watching because they are just love to see you. We already have Angela Fischetti from Boomer and Beyond Wellness. Hello from Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. My best to Esther, and you get a couple of green hearts there, Esther. And Barbara Short, she's tuning in from Florida.
Yes.
Yes, getting a little nippy there today, Barbara. Yeah, so we got a bunch of people tuning in, and I'm so excited that you're here. You know, Green Warriors, at the time of this live filming, we are approaching the holidays, and I spell it with at the end with a DAZE. Because you kind of get dazed and confused, you know. It's like, oh my goodness, holidays can be overwhelming and joyous at the same time. But if you have adopted a whole food plant-based lifestyle, then you want to stay on track because you've been getting results, and up to now everything's going great. So let's keep it going. But sometimes, especially if you haven't been doing this for very long, or maybe even if you have, it can be a little overwhelming, and just getting some great strategies Esther's going to be sharing from from her experiences. I think that we're going to have a great amount of tools in our toolbox added today.
Yes. Well, I just think it's wonderful. I think that I was talking to Ben this morning. This is kind of interesting about how the the winter solstice and Christmas, and how all of this just kind of coincides at the same time. And in the olden days, people would have a feast day, as they approached winter. But in America, we have a feast day every day. And so it's really, we're in an environment, not only in our homes, but where we work and where we live and people we associate with, where there's so much emphasis on food. And then, of course, this time of year, all of the more rich foods and all the desserts, and everyone trying to outdo everyone else. So we're in an environment, we're really fighting a battle, not only a battle of the bulge, but a battle against disease. And it's not a pretty game plan of how to fight that. You don't do it part-time. You don't do it 3 days a week. It takes a person, if they're going to be committed to this way of life, and it is a lifestyle change, not a diet, you have to really get your priorities straight in your head. And if you think you're going to have a couple of little tools that are going to help you get through this, if you don't change how you think, you won't get through it.
I'm glad you said that. That's a very good point.
Yeah, you have to really think. And I'm gonna share a little bit of a personal journey, if you don't mind, Amy.
Yeah, please do.
Of what I'm going through. We 2 days ago got some very disturbing news about my baby, my son, and without impinging on their privacy, let me just say that it was very devastating to all of us to get this news. But what we think about is so important. So my struggle was, how do I hold on to hope, and how do I hold on to what I believe to be true, that the food we eat does become the best medicine we have? How do I hold on to that hope given such devastating news? And I came to the answer that all of the remedies that the medical profession would provide as an answer for their many different areas of conflict or their areas of difficulty, the medical profession is so casual about throwing out the C word. And that C word puts us into a spirit of fear, and understandably so. No one wants to hear that C word. But the ease with which the medical profession throws that out disturbs me, because what I think is just as important as, or, this whole package of being well covers so many things besides not only the food, but the air we breathe, the water we drink, the people we associate with, the stress we have in our bodies. And I've always discounted all of those other things, thinking, as Dr. McDougall has said, it's the food. And yes, it is the food that has healed me. But when people are under other areas of stress and different things like that, that's also something to consider. So as we approach this holidays, I just can admonish any of you, if you think you're going to play with it, then go ahead and play with it. But if you are serious, if you have a crisis in your life, or if you have a real calling to set your life aside to lead a lifestyle that incorporates all of these wonderful things, then you can't say, well, if you're like me, a former food addict, you can't say I'll have one cookie, because a year ago I went off the wagon 2 days. It was one, I went to a Christmas concert and I thought I could have a little bit, and that just set my brain going crazy. And I ate a plate full of sugary things. And then on Christmas Day, I did also, because it was all of my old favorites. And those memories just kept coming back to me like they were wonderful. But, we can make gods out of these things and not keep them in their proper perspective. And so I'm kind of ranting and raving here today, but my heart is so full. And I'm so thankful that while I was talking to my daughter-in-law this morning, they ruled out there was no evidence of multiple myeloma or lymphoma. And there are other tests being conducted. But the point is that we, after praying about this and asking for guidance, that was a miracle for me to be on the phone with her when my son brought her the results of one of the tests. So I'm rejoicing and being thankful for that. But people, this is serious business. How we treat our bodies is very serious. It's not a game that we can play with Monday through Friday and then go off on the weekends. If you really want your body to be well, you have to really respect your body and realize that you don't poison it less. You just don't poison it. And sugar is poison in any form. And so when it comes to the holidays, yes, the things I would have said in the past was eat a full dinner before you go to a party so that you're not hungry. And that will help. But the eyes also lead us astray. And even when my body is full, if I start looking at the things I used to love, then my thinking can become weakened and I can give in. So I'd say, first of all, yes, go ahead and make sure you're full before you go to a party. Make sure you maybe even take some extra potatoes with you if that's the route that you're taking, and make sure you're not. And if you get there, what I've been saying, I've gone to 2 parties now and I didn't eat anything. And it's not because I'm some virtuosious person, but it's just that if you don't get started, you don't have to worry about when to quit. And so I went to one party, it was a brunch, and I just had water while they all had their food. And it was a little uncomfortable, but I said, I'm going to a potluck after I leave here, so I'm saving for that. And then when I got to the potluck, I just didn't want to eat either because I had just been to a brunch. Now, I didn't eat at the brunch, you see, but it gave me an excuse not to eat the second time because that day I did want to fast. So fasting to me is easier than moderation or trying to do things. But if you're not at that level, then I'd say just do what you're willing to do. You can follow all these gurus out here and all these people who are role models or whatever, and you're not going to be able to do what somebody else did because you haven't had their life experiences. I wanted to grow up to be Maya Angelou. I will never be Maya Angelou. I have not had her experiences in life. And the same is true for you. So It may be a lonely experience, but you get to decide what you want to do and stick to it. Empower yourself, and there are other techniques. You can drink a lot of water so you're not hungry. You can maybe even not go to the party, or you yourself know what you can withstand. And maybe you're going to decide to throw caution to the wind and have a good time this Christmas and start over in January. Whatever you choose to do, do it.
Mm.
But have it come from you. I can sit here and preach and say, well, this is only the 11th of December. That's 20 more days that you could go pure or go healthy and not wait till January 1st.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not in that kind of a crisis where you want to do it now. And just do what you believe is best for you. I think that's the best thing. Take back that power yourself. And don't try to take on somebody else's power, but live within what you know to be true for you and be true to that. And then you can feel happy and successful.
Wow. That's so profound. I had a guest on the show, and I'm not going to reveal who it was because we had a private conversation, and this guest had revealed to me that their spouse was in stage 4 of a certain type of cancer. And the reason why I'm bringing it up was because she had, during the broadcast, had said as a tip, don't wait until it's too late. And I didn't realize what the meaning was behind that until I spoke with her after the broadcast. So don't wait until it's too late. And, we think that it's going to happen to everybody else but us, but that's not necessarily true. And just because you are plant exclusive, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to have avoid all of these things. But I think we should all make believe that we have that diagnosis, that we have that gene. And if we knew we had the gene, and if we knew we had the diagnosis, and we went to these gatherings, wouldn't our attitude maybe be a little bit different? Where we wouldn't feel so, maybe, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but we wouldn't feel so bad about saying, oh, no, thank you. I'm not going to be eating that at this time. Or we wouldn't feel so bad about bringing our own food, or whatever the strategy may be. I think I admire Dr. Doug Lisle, and I'm sure you're familiar with him, Esther. And I've listened to lots of his talks and he's going to be coming on next year. Finally, I have him coming on soon. But he talked about how the primitive brain, that he believes that we are trained in our primitive brain to get along with everyone in our social groups, because a human out in the wild can't survive on their own. They need the tribe. They need somebody to help with the children, somebody to help gather the food, somebody to look out for the predators, somebody to help build the shelters. There's so many things that a primitive human needs. So in our primitive brain, he says, we are programmed to get along, right? And he even has a talk that he gives, which is called Get Along Without Going Along. And you came on the show and talked about that too in a previous broadcast. So, but I think what I'm finding with people that I'm working with, they're finding that the more that they're doing this, and the more that they're expressing, what they want to do and what they aren't willing to do to their friends and family members, the more they're finding that it's a little bit easier to do. There's more understanding happening. And then suddenly these friends and family members, might be a year or two later, are coming up to them and saying, can you tell me how you're doing this?
Yes.
Right. And so and maybe somebody might not believe the way I believe. I think that not just is your body never not watching, but your friends and family are never not watching. And if they see that you can't get through a holiday without staying on track, then how can you encourage them that this could be something that they could do too?
Yes, yes. If we have made proclamations to our family and friends that this is what we're doing and this has healed us, our responsibility is huge.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Like you say, people are watching, and We often laugh and say Santa Claus is coming to town and he knows who's been good and who hasn't been. But, the same is true. I noticed in my family, I went to a memorial service and they had all the food set out there. And they had one table, which was all healthy food, and the other table was all sweets. And so,
Okay. They had some healthy food. That was good.
yeah, they did. But as there was cookies, I guess, on the healthy side too. But as I was reaching for a carrot stick or something, one of my relatives said, "Oh, Esther, I thought you were reaching for a cookie," and I had no idea that she was watching. And I said, "No." But our mind, when you think about how wonderfully we are made and how strong our minds are, if they can do a surgery, if they can do a knee surgery on someone and not replace the knee, have it be an experiment and sew that knee back up. And after that, people can walk because they thought they had their knee replaced when in fact they didn't. That shows the power of the mind, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've always heard that placebos work. It's what you believe that's important. So when we talk to people, I think we need to get in touch with where they are at the moment and find out what do they believe is the answer to their own health and build on that. For some people, it's into yoga, and I've never done yoga, but I think those who do, like Barbie, I mean, it's wonderful to be in control of your body and to learn that technique. Or if you're into weightlifting, or if you're into walking, or if you're into getting sunshine every day, or whatever aspect of this whole food and whole body process that we're all going through, we're all at different levels of what we're working on. And I want to really honor everyone who is even thinking about making changes. Maybe it's changing your water. I mentioned, even though I'd gone on the Daniel's fast in January, that I also at the same time changed to pure water. And so who knows which of these factors are attributing to our success. And we may not be able to do everything all at once, but whatever your mind leads you to work on that. And like you said at the beginning, pretend like you have that. What if we prove, like I talked to my cousin this morning, and her husband's having triple bypass surgery this morning, and they haven't been plant-based, but I think they're starting to wake up now and listen. But what if they could have listened before, and changed? That would certainly have helped. So, but everything comes to us, I think, in divine order and divine timing. And until we're ready to hear, we won't hear.
Yeah. So Marley was agreeing with something I said earlier. She said, I find people in my life have become more understanding and don't get on my case like they used to, albeit I did fall off the wagon a little bit, tiny bit randomly this month. So yeah, I think that after a while they say, "Oh yeah, that's Marley. She's don't worry about her. She's doing her thing, and we don't have to try to push things in her face anymore. She's good." And she also said that she's not waiting for January because I feel it in my gut. My body's speaking to me, and I'm back on track now. I
Yeah.
think that's why you're here, Marley, right? Because you're going to get encouragement from us, right?
Yeah. And if you think it's the truth, why would you punish your body for the next 11 days or 21 days, whatever I figured it was? I mean, it's like if somebody offered you, said, if you go to this certain place and you get a lottery ticket, I guarantee you're going to win. Well, why would you wait? You would just go. And that's not a very good analogy. But the point is, once you believe something to be true, why not act on it and give yourself the best? Because then that gets back into self love. Don't you love yourself enough to give yourself the very best ammunition? Don't you love yourself enough to follow your own inner guide? And there's so many magazines out there and so many lures out there. And I loved what you said, holidays, because we just get in the days. We're so dumbed down with this stupid, toxic food that's so calorie dense, where our brains aren't working. So it's no wonder we'll put off till tomorrow what we could start today.
Yeah. And you were talking about exercise, and Boomer and Beyond Wellness said, "I'm lifting weights right now while tuning in. The conversation inspires me."
Yes, yes. And I know in my heart that I need to move my body more, and that's my next area that I need to do that. It costs nothing. I can just get out and walk around the block and do things like that. It doesn't have to be extreme. But every facet in this lifestyle, whether it's like we talked about, some things we can't do anything about, like the air I breathe. I mean, the best I can do is what's around me. But you know, and then the water, and then there's the food, and then there's getting off the medication, and then there's being happy and being thankful and having a gratitude journal or whatever it takes to get your mind in a music. Music is another thing that is so wonderful to sing, and that raises us to a higher vibration. And as the minister that talks to us twice a month says, it's all consciousness. And I keep saying to myself, you got to be kidding. It's all consciousness. You know, I'm still trying to figure that out, you know. And you know, and it's even in giving. This is the season to give, and so many of us are hoarders, you know. And why aren't we just, there's people in need out there, and we can raise the vibration of our souls through giving of the resources that we have and sharing, and what you give, it comes back. So that's one reason why I love doing what I do, because I keep getting blessed more and more, and with people bringing me food and things I didn't even anticipate. You know, it's just goodies just come, and life, it's more than diet and our figure. You know, it's our health, and it's more than our physical health. It's our mental health. You know, so much of us, we're really crazy, if you want to be honest about it. We're crazy in what we do. We keep making the same mistake over and over again, expecting a different result. So we're all nuts, you know, to a certain degree. And some of us have gone through the test and been certified. But, you know, I wouldn't trade my life for anything. And I just, even with the situation with my family, it's just making me more aware of how precious life is, and there are no promises of tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Only the promise that you keep to yourself. That's about the only promise you can have. So, and I'm excited that you're here and that you're going to help give some encouragement to everyone. I would like to play our game of true or false now.
It's time for True or False on Be Green with Amy Live. Answer true or false to Amy's questions in the comments below, and Amy will ask our guest for the expert answer.
Okay, well, we have to start out with this one, which is true or false. It's impossible to stay plant-based during holiday gatherings. Well, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that in their minds. So is it true or not? Say what you think, Green Warriors, and they're going to say their answers. And what do you want to say to that, Esther?
It is not impossible, but it is nearly impossible given the environments that we put ourselves into. We're the ones that choose to be there. We're the one that chooses to go to these parties and to go to places where we're going to be in mixed company, so to speak. And if you feel like you're up to it and you decide it, you can do it, that's fine. But if you just say, oh, I'm just going to go see what happens without giving it considerable thought, the chances are I can speak from past experience last year, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah. And you had been plant-based for a while last year. So, you know, but that didn't mean that you decided, well, I guess I just can't do this anymore. And I'm just totally giving up. You know, that's not what happened.
Yes. And now that I've had almost a year of falling closer to the Daniel's fast, I feel like my resistance to sugar is so much stronger. Now I just feel like I'm a different person. So I feel like now I could go anywhere and not be tempted. I feel that strong in my own body and mind. But it's, you know, this is my 8th year. And so it's a big battle, and it's through extreme deprivation, if you want to call it that, of sugar, that I've gotten to the point now where I really feel like it's gone. And I could handle going where I did last year. And I'm just determined. I'm determined. So it's, you know, another tip we can say to each other is, say to ourselves is, it's not my food. And when we look at all the array that will be out there, because people find joy in going to extremes the other way. and they're going to do that. There aren't very many parties you'll go to where they have raw veggies and water to drink.
Yeah, that's very true.
And because we have that need to belong, like Dr. Lyle talked about, you referred to that need to belong, it takes a lot of growth in our minds to get to the point where what other people think of me is none of my business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very true. I wanted to share some slides. So for people that aren't familiar with you, which I don't know who doesn't know you anymore, because you're really been a great presence on my broadcasts and on Facebook. But these are some photos that we have of you for before when adopting this lifestyle. And, not everybody watching may be interested in weight loss, but they may just be interested in improving their health. So, and that's your husband, Ben. So, but it's not just about weight loss, is it, Esther?
No, for me, it was about travel because I weighed 257 pounds and I was traveling and having a good time. But when my knees and feet gave out on me and I had a trip to China planned that fall, that brought my life to a screeching halt because how was I going to get past this crisis? So I carried that weight, and when I dressed nicely and stood up straight, I carried that weight fairly well. It was proportioned for the most part, in my view. But if I couldn't walk, then that's when I had to look at my life, and that's when the miracle of Dr. McDougall came into my life, and I learned the tools I needed for mastering food addiction, and that was by going on a plant-based, and even more restrictive than just plant-based. It was the maximum weight loss program. So yes, but losing the weight is um, something that I keep saying. I know people want to lose weight, and to be able to advertise, I lost 130 pounds by eating this way. That's a good advertising tool for the program. But the point is, this way of eating is even the best, in my view, for anyone who's already at their goal weight but wants to heal their body of any chronic diseases they have. So
Yeah.
I often say if I had to tell my story all over again, instead of emphasizing the weight loss, I'd want to emphasize the healing that has occurred. But the weight loss is what impresses people.
Yeah. So Carrie said, greetings, Carrie. Visitors insist on bringing animal products into my house. I find it seriously offensive. Hmm. So do you ever have anybody that tries to bring animal products into your home, Esther, when they're visiting?
No, but I had evolved so much this year that I have a cousin and her husband. They were going to come over, and I think people having choice is really important. Now, I don't want to buy the meat and I don't want to buy the dairy and all of that, but I did kind of a little experiment, and I said to them, "We're going to our little Mexican place and we're going to pick up some burritos. What kind would you like?"
Mm-hmm.
And one said chicken and one said beef, and Ben and I got our bean and rice. So I allowed it into my home in that respect. But this
Mm-hmm.
is also a person that has been very resistant to hearing my message. And there's more to my relationship with her than having her comply to my eating.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I kind of graduated a little bit by giving them a choice and honoring them where they are right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that gave them, it was love in a way.
Yeah.
That's how I chose to see it, that I wasn't trying to commander them into my way of living, even though they probably would have ate it if it was a bean and rice burrito. But
Yeah.
it was my way of being tolerant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, because there's parts of me that say, oh, I really don't want this in my home, and I don't want to be a part of it, especially from an ethical point of view. But I keep going back to, they're never not watching, you right? So if and I feel that if they feel that they're welcome, but I'm like you, I'm not buying it, I'm not preparing it, I'm not having anything to do with it. But if they feel like they're welcome and they're not pressured into that one kind of meal, that they have a choice, but I'm still going to be putting out my things, and I'm going to ask them, please try a little bit of this if you'd like. And they'll probably still, it's been my experience that they eat the food that they brought, but they're willing to try what I'm eating, because now it's not on this level of, oh, you don't have anything else to eat, so I guess you're going to have to eat my food type of thing. And I feel that's the strategy that works best for me. But I can see from an ethical point of view how some people would not want that to be. But to me, I find it that it helps a lot. And Marley said making food for get-togethers because they always have charcuterie boards and animal-based. Okay, yeah, proteins, yeah. So, because I was asking in the comments, I was asking for people to tell us what's their biggest challenge when it comes to staying healthy during the holidays, and that's a good strategy. And because the charcuterie boards are they're pretty and they're inviting, and not everybody thinks of them as a vegan thing, so that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
Jennifer Diamond, she's been on the show, and hi, Jennifer. My biggest challenge comes of I don't take care of my needs first and make sure I am full, satisfied, and mentally stable. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That's a real good point because, if we're not committed to ourselves and what we want to do, then all of these other things are just excuses, that give us a reason to violate ourselves. And if we really know that it's not our food, then it's just off the table. We don't. It may be there. We don't need to look at it, and But if our food's not there, we don't eat. And if we don't eat a meal, we're not going to die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You could just. I mean, I think Dr. Lyle and some of them just say my doctors had me on a special diet, and it's really serious. So,
Yeah.
I'm really forced to stay compliant, or the test will not show the right results.
There you go. That's a good one. The test will not show. We don't know what test that is, but it's a test. And Marley said, I was only able to eat nuts at one dinner party, so splurged and had a few bites of pasta, then got super bloated from the gluten in pasta and probably peanut butter. Yeah, and our bodies don't realize how these different ingredients in these foods that are created can really affect us. And the more clean we eat, the more our body is noticing these things. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that's the mantra that I have lately is I say to myself, does it grow? And that's my test. If it doesn't grow, I don't eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a dear relative who sent me 2 boxes of gummy bears,
Oh,
vegan gummy
yeah,
bears.
they're trying, right? They
And
see that word vegan and they think they're trying to be nice and helpful.
right. And it's better than the non-vegan ones for vegans who are ethical vegans, why
Mhm.
not? But he was so surprised. He said, well, why wouldn't you eat it? And I said, it doesn't grow.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's my test.
Yeah.
But whatever test you as individuals set up, that's your test,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Boomer and Beyond Wellness said, we have strong evidence of the effects of both a whole food plant exclusive diet and weightlifting for mental health. The diet supports the effects of strength training, especially reducing inflammation. Oh, yeah, so true. And that doesn't mean that you're lifting 100 pounds, right? I mean, it can even be a 1 pound hand weight that you're doing something. And Boomer and Beyond Wellness comes on the broadcast quite frequently, doing all kinds of different workouts. And she's going to be coming up soon, showing us a workout that she is designing that is going to be for real newbies. I mean, I never lifted weights, or it's been so long, I don't even know how. And it's going to be fabulous. So there's not going to be any excuses not to try this one. And I'm really excited about what she's going to curate for us.
Well, I think that's the fun of this lifestyle is we're continually learning. We get one element down pat, and then we get to graduate to the next level and learn something else about something. And there's so many facets to it that you never get bored. At least I don't. I just have fun playing with, well, now how can I make this better? And how can I clean up my own life? And how can I clean up how I think? And how can I, just be more and more and more of what we want to be.
Yeah. Carrie said, OMG, Marley, just take a cooked potato or sweet potato with you. It'll keep you sane, I promise.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's something you would have said.
Yes, yes. In fact, to potlucks lately, what I've been doing is taking an instant pot full of those little mini potatoes and nothing on them, because I just feel like there's going to be somebody there who wants to be really clean and not be affected by barbecue sauce or something else. And that's okay too if you want to do it. But I've been just taking potatoes only to potlucks, not trying to outdo somebody else by something that's really delicious, and giving people the option to go simple.
Wow, if I was at that potluck, I would definitely appreciate that, because sometimes that's just really what you need is
Yes.
that potato, and you don't often find it because you're right. People are making all these fancy sauces, and I'm trying to stay away from too many nuts and things like that, and often that's or tofu, that's what's the basis of a lot of these sauces. So I definitely appreciate that. But I wanted to let's see if we have another true or false question. Let's see. So that one was fun. True or false? Holiday stress has no impact on your eating habits. What do you think, Green Warriors? Okay, go ahead.
Duh. Duh. It's stressful to make any change in our lives and then to stick to it, because we're not in our comfort zone. All of the medications or all of the drugs or all of the sweets that we've gone to before to, mend our broken heart or to soothe our damaged ego or to make us feel safe again. Those have been our remedies in the past, and it's stressful to give those up. But when you realize, like I say before on the McDougall program, you can eat all the potatoes you want. I think the other day, I don't know, I ate about 8 or 10 of them. And there's no limit. So you can just transfer how you solve that stress to solving it. Instead of grabbing something sweet, grab another potato and another one, and another one, and another one if you need to, until you get past that period of pressure. It's so wonderful to know that there's no limit
Yeah.
to what you can use. And just, the potatoes have become my bread. They've become my meat. They've become, in fact, it was interesting at this last potluck on Sunday, where I brought the potatoes, we found out that somebody had made some vegan cranberry, kind of a relish,
Uh-huh.
and putting that on a potato was dynamite.
Whoa.
That tasted
Yeah.
really good. And I never would have thought of that. I've thought of avocado before, which is high in fat, spreading that on a potato. But that cranberry, sugar-free, it was. Well, I don't need to have the recipe because I don't eat that much cranberry
Right.
relish. But it was a spark. Put it that way. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, my hubby Rick likes to make that, and it's so easy to make. You wouldn't think that it would be that easy. And he did actually a recipe demo just recently showing how he basically just took cranberries and put them in water and boiled them down until they were, thick.
Uh
And then
huh.
you could always add a sweetener of your choice. That's the thing. You have to be careful when people make that, because you don't know what kind of sweetener, if it was dates or if it was something else, we don't know. So yeah, and then he freezes it. He puts it in individual containers and freezes it so that you can just have a little bit anytime you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it is fun, and it's nice to bring it to gatherings, especially when people they're surprised because they're used to some kind of a weird thing that comes out of the can, and it's got all the lines of the can on it, and they slice it, and you're like, that's not a food. I don't know what that is. That's
Yeah.
not food.
It didn't grow, did it?
No, it didn't. It actually died.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I had someone talk to me recently about the doctor saying that they needed to add protein, and an animal protein back into their diet. And I just said, I can't imagine putting anything dead into my body. I
Mhm.
can't imagine it. I just, there's nothing in animal product that has anything we need. We get everything we need from plants. And so we don't need the fat, we don't need the muscle, we don't need the skin, we don't need the bacteria that could be in it, we don't need the medicine that had been put into those animals. before they were slaughtered. So there's so many levels to this whole movement that's wonderful, because you might be an environmentalist, you might be an animal rights person, you might be someone who's concerned about the water, and there's so many levels at which you can come and join. And Ben, we recently went to hear Dr. Will Tuttle speak, and Ben raised a wonderful question, I thought. He said, why doesn't the Sierra Club and the other tree huggers and environmentalists, why aren't we all getting together in this movement?
Yeah.
And that's a big question. Why do we have egos that want our way to be the only way, when we all have the same thing in mind? Let's save Mother Earth, and let's save our resources, and save the food for people who are hungry, rather than raising more cattle. And this is kind of off the subject, but the other day I wanted to know how cows got impregnated.
Oh gosh. How cows on the factory farms. I
Yeah.
mean, we know how they get impregnated, but
Yeah.
uh, oh
Yes, and it's not a pretty picture.
no.
And I'm reminded of how my grandfather had a cow, and he walked it down East Railroad Avenue to the next farm and let it visit the bull in the next yard
Yeah.
for a period of time. And that was how he kept his milk going,
Yeah.
kept the cow. But yeah, this factory farm is so cruel, and people just don't know.
No, they don't.
They just don't know what goes on, so that we can have something we don't even need.
Yeah, and well, people don't realize that we don't need it, and unfortunately, when we consume things like the animal products and the dairy, and we risk getting autoimmune diseases. That
Yes.
there are so many. I mean, that was something that years ago people that wasn't even a word. There was no autoimmune disease, and now people are getting them, and it seems like it's just a common thing that is happening. And when you eat things from another animal, your body gets confused.
Yes.
It says, "Is this some weird kind of product of me that I need to attack and kill because it's kind of like me, but it's kind of not. So maybe I just need to kill it off." And then the body just starts attacking itself, which is, yeah, it's just so, so, so sad.
I think what helped me, I think what helped me on the dairy part of this, because um, we could look at it, the animals not being killed, but so I started looking at this maybe in terms of our own bodies, how in nature, mothers ideally want to nurse their babies until they wean themselves.
Exactly.
And when they wean themselves, then why would they need to go to the tit of another mammal for what they no longer need from their mothers?
Yeah. I mean, we're the only mammal on Earth that sends our grown children and adults to drink milk from another mammal, where any other mammal on Earth, unless it's some kind of a kitten that lost its mother and maybe it's nursing off of a dog or something, but after they're of age of not drinking that milk, they don't go trying to find milk from another species or anything.
Yeah.
They just eat their food. So yeah. And Marley said it's horrible. I don't touch cheese anymore, and I used to be addicted to cheese. See, there's the addiction. You shouldn't be addicted to your food, other than you just need it to survive, but you shouldn't
Right.
be addicted to it. And
Yeah.
if you're addicted, then there's something you got to question. And I'm glad that you don't do that anymore, Marley.
Yes. Yes. It's wonderful to receive that knowledge, and then to be able to act on it and have it make sense in your own life. Because when we make changes in our life and then we see the benefit of it, then we can own it. It's not like because so and so said we shouldn't. But when we get that truth and we prove it to ourselves, then we can carry on so much more easily. But the holidays are, it's kind of like putting the testing on steroids. It's because we're social people and we want to be together. It really takes some soul searching before you go, to think about what's going to be there and what is going to be your plan of action. And maybe even write something down. I hereby declare that I will only eat raw vegetables if they're offered.
Hmm. Yeah.
We could set boundaries. We talk about setting boundaries with people who zap our energy. Well, we can set boundaries too on what we're willing to do and not willing to do. And I think that's an important thing to consider as we face the holidays.
Well, that was going to be my next true or false question, Esther. True or false, Green Warriors? Setting boundaries with family about your dietary choices is disrespectful.
Yes. Yes.
Chime
Well,
in and tell us what you're thinking.
yes. That's, well, I told you we think alike.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yes, that is wonderful because I hadn't even thought about that before. But I think that's what this year has done for me in terms of leaving nuts alone. I had set the idea that I was going to eat nuts. And then when I lost weight and wanted to put some back on, I realized peanuts were not nuts, they're legumes and they grow under the ground. So I was able to eat some peanuts to help me put some weight back on without going into the whole category of pecans and walnuts and cashews and pistachios because that field is so huge
Yeah.
with so many nuts available and some being touted as being better than others and you can get it nutty.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
And so for me, because I did want more fat in my body, and I can enjoy my nuts now and my peanuts because they're not nuts; they grow underground and they're a legume.
Yeah.
So I still leave the nut category out of my diet and have all year long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's for people that need to gain weight. That's something that they could probably incorporate and be successful with. But for most people, it's not it's not
Right?
the way to go.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, and maybe I'll ask you, Esther, if this applies to you. But I wanted to ask the Green Warriors, uh, what what one plant based dish that you bring to holiday parties. So tell us in the chat. And do you want to talk about that? I mean, you talked about the potatoes. That's true. But
Yes.
is there anything else?
Yeah. Well, this summer it was watermelon because it's
Mm,
fruit of the vine.
yeah.
So Ben just cut up a watermelon and it's pure. There's no other ingredients added. There's no gluten for people who are concerned about that. And it's just a pure food. And then after the watermelon was gone, I think Ben took some fresh pineapple. But any food you can take that is as grown is, in my view, the very best.
Hmm.
With no other ingredient added so that nobody has, so that it can be applicable to everyone.
Yeah.
If we could choose food that everyone could eat, no matter what program they're on, that would
Right.
be ideal.
Yeah, that is ideal. And people don't feel like, oh, is that vegan? They just say, oh, it's watermelon. And even because I've seen where people can't eat a strawberry unless they dip it in sugar. So at least with watermelon, I think that's a safe one that people don't feel that it's not edible if it's not doused in something.
Hmm. Yeah.
So Marley said, I always make either a kale salad or quinoa salad that goes along with the season. That's nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to ask the Green Warriors and another. Oh well, let's see. Boomer Beyond, similar to Esther, living in South Florida. Depending on the season, I bring a big basket of ripe mangoes or pink lady apples. Wow, yeah. So and
Yeah.
Carrie said, I kind of don't go. They come here. So another thing that I like to do is I like to have traditions that aren't always about food. Right? So that we're not making food the main part of the gathering. So I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to also ask the Green Warriors, what is your favorite plant-based holiday tradition? Do you have anything that you like to do when you're gathering with friends and family?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, there have been traditions in the past that I'm really not happy with.
Hmm.
Typically, we have given our children and grandchildren a check because we don't know exactly what their
Yeah.
needs are. And so this year, I'm going to be giving to people outside the family as well. I want to spread the blessings that I've had. And also, I've been passing down some of the things that I own already, where it's not putting more money into the marketplace.
Yeah.
I know my mother did that. She started in her older years giving us back what we had given to her, assuming that we gave her something we loved.
Oh.
And so she would just give that back to us. And so if somebody thought enough of something to give that to us,
Uh-huh.
I think it would be a sign of valuing that by letting them have it back. And so I'm just being really conscious of things that I have that will be more meaningful than a money gift would be,
Hmm.
something we already have, and something that I think they would appreciate. I've been passing down some of my jewelry. I've been passing down a family heirloom clock um, because I'm going to die.
Yeah, we can't take it with us,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
My father had a saying, I'm doing my giving while I'm living, while I'm knowing where it's going.
Exactly. That's how I feel too. I agree with you. You know, to be able to be there and present and have the joy in seeing the receiving
Mhm.
is so it's so much nicer. Yeah.
And the other thing I think that's worth passing on is giving someone an experience instead of a material gift.
Yeah.
You know, maybe this person would like to spend an hour with you swinging in your backyard, or maybe taking a walk together, or maybe going to a movie together, or creating more memories that way. Because a cash offering doesn't hold
Yeah.
us very long.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, Marley actually said we're trying to gift more edible gifts
Yes.
or experiences like a night out, spa, movie
Yeah.
tickets and things. Yeah, that's a good yeah, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, and Kylie said you'll enjoy seeing them and enjoying the items you passed on. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what we like to do, like a few Thanksgivings ago, I found out that you can make a turkey out of fruit, and we even made a video about it because we were having so much fun. And you know, it was just for the fact of just having an experience together doing something, you
Yes.
know. So I mean, he kind of didn't quite stand up, so we wound up laying him down flat because we're using skewers and then putting grapes and different fruits to make the feathers, and then like a big pear in the middle for his body and things like that. Because you know we had turkey for Thanksgiving, but it was a kind turkey. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I did that, and other years I might do like a little craft or something, and we all sit around the table and we're doing this craft together. Each one of us is doing something, you know, as a part of this craft that they've never experienced before. And another time, my husband bought this pipe cutting tool, and we bought this flexible pipe and duct tape, and I made a video with that too. We made hula hoops.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and, you know, the bigger the hoop, the easier it is to keep it up, you know, so if somebody there didn't know how to hula hoop, we made an extraordinarily large hula hoop for them so that this way they could have success, and everybody took their turn, and everybody else was watching, and this was something I'm trying to just build these memories that is doesn't have to be about this food all the time, right? It's just doing
Yes.
things together and enjoying themselves, yeah.
Yeah. I know this Thanksgiving we went to Chef AJ's for a
Mhm.
potluck, and that was nice. And then we went to see my son's family, my older son's family afterwards, and had a wonderful visit and had no food because we had taken care of that at a vegan potluck. And then they got to have their Thanksgiving food the way they wanted it. But then it was the conversation and just being together. It didn't have to center around food or the part where we were with them. So that was how we handled that this year. Whoops, I lost your voice.
Are we there now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I love the things that you're talking about, and I hope that the conversation that we're having is really inspiring the green warriors to think about, instead of being stressed out about the holidays coming up, to try and get your creative mind going and thinking, how can I make this a different experience, but enjoyable, and
Yes.
not have to worry so much about this food. So I wanted to know from the Green Warriors, have you ever experienced where you have had a situation where somebody that you were in a gathering and somebody tried to get you to eat something that you didn't want to eat? And if that happened to you, did you find a solution for it? And I wondered if that ever happened to you, Esther.
Well, yes. In fact, November 30th, we went to a gala affair in San Francisco, and it was a beautiful um, evening, celebrating memorializing people who had died of AIDS, and they have their name placed in this grove in the San Francisco Golden Gate Park. It's just a beautiful evening there. And I decided I was going to fast because I've gone there in years past where the first thing they do is give you a glass of champagne, and then there's all the hors d'oeuvres, and everything's included in this wonderful event. But I just decided I was going to fast, and so I didn't have to think about all the hors d'oeuvres. Whether because last year what I did is I had some of the sandwiches, but I took out the filling inside and just ate the bread, and I was eating more than I wanted to of that. And so this year I tried it that way. So I went up to the bar and I just said, I'd like to have a glass of water. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got that, and they put a little wedge of a lime on the edge of it. And I had so much fun talking and hugging and being with people that I've known. And I didn't have my mouth full of food. And so I was just free to share. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful evening. And so I think they say it's not good to talk with your mouth full. And so that was just a beautiful evening. So, yes, that's how I handled that. And it paid great dividends for me because they did have vegan tamales, and Ben tried one of those, but not everything there grew. And that's kind of my
Yeah.
and so I didn't even have to go looking for something that I could eat. I just decided that I wasn't going to.
Yeah, Marley said I that happened to me. I just stood my ground and said no. I have had a bite of spinach pie in the past. It had cheese. Yeah, see, you think that it, like you said, it could have ingredients, and you may not be sure. I think we had when you were on another time we had a true or false game. One of my questions was true or false. No is a complete sentence, and we kind of laughed at that.
Yeah, yes,
And so Marley's like, "Yep, no is a complete sentence."
I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good. But people want you to be at their level so that their stress is less. And when you exemplify a higher, if you want to think of it in terms of higher way of living, they're uncomfortable because it points out where they could be lacking. But one of the best things that happened to me this last month was my brother, who hasn't adopted this way, but he said, "I think you're on the right track. I wish I could do it."
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, and for some people, they can't do it. The addiction is really so strong, and, we just hope that they can, uh maybe find some help later on, or we just but for some people it doesn't happen, and we have to think about that because the holidays are not an opportunity to proselytize and preach and which could sometimes make our guests and family feel bad about the choices that they're making at this time,
Yeah.
right? We want to make it for and we've said this together in the past. We would never want any of our loved ones or friends, people around us, to try to convince us to eat something differently than the way we have chosen to eat. So we really shouldn't push it too much on other people unless they're asking us and or we think that they may need help. Yeah, yeah,
I think love is the answer to everything.
yeah.
And love would be treating someone else with respect for where they are right now, knowing that we too have been in that place before. So just because we've learned a way that has helped us, like you say, we can't change anybody, but we can just shine our light. And if they choose to see it and respond, then that's up to them.
Yeah, just as I was saying that, Marley said, "Yes, I don't get it. Leave my food intake alone. I don't force my food choices on them." Exactly. Yeah, that's what we were saying. Kylie said, uh, "It feels great to say no, thank you, with a smile and walk away." Wow, because I mean, you're doing something for yourself when you're doing that,
Yes.
and that's a great feeling.
And
Yeah.
you're not letting other people determine who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we give in to be a people pleaser, where does that stop?
Yeah.
You know, then we're giving all of our power away to other people to define who we are and what we can do. And if on the other hand, we just know our own limits, and if we, it takes a lot of psychological work, I will say, to get to the point where we can really say, what you think of me is none of my business,
Mm,
because we cannot control other people's minds.
yeah.
And we cannot make them like us, and we can't make them stop hating us or whatever. Only through kindness can we be kind and loving, and not give them an excuse to fight against us, but to know that what we have found has worked for us, and this is what we can demonstrate.
Yeah, someone that I'm working with, I was a we were having a conversation about these things and talking about, especially with the holidays and how, especially if you've been on plan for a while and you're getting success, sometimes your brain can say, "Well, things have been going so well and you've been doing such a good job. It's just this one little something. You deserve this." And I was telling her that, and then I was about to say something, but she said it first. She said, "I don't deserve it."
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
So what do you think,
Wow.
Leora? You don't deserve that processed food, that food that's going to harm you. You don't deserve that. Not even a bite, not even a taste. Your body does not deserve it.
No,
Yeah.
no. You would not put a little bit of water in your gas tank of your car.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. So, C, greetings, C, says, "Esther, based on your experience this past year, if you could only get 3 or 4 foods this week, what would you pick, and cooked or raw?"
I would have potatoes, and if I had to have, if I only had three choices, it would be white sweet potatoes, orange sweet potatoes, and uh, probably Yukon Gold. And then if I wanted to go beyond the potato category, I'd have potatoes, and then I would have some legumes, and they would be cooked, all of that. And then I would just add some raw vegetables from the refrigerator to balance out the plate.
Okay, it wasn't hard for you to think about that. You right? You thought of that very easily. It wasn't hard at all. And even on your and we're going to talk about this very soon. You even on your Facebook page, you show foods that you enjoy because you post them every day, and they're beautiful and they're filling, and what I love about it is that we can eat all that we want until we're comfortably full and not feel bad about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday, one thing I enjoy, especially on cooler mornings, like yesterday, I took out 4 carrots and I took out a whole stalk of celery, and I started with the leaves, at the end of the celery, and used about a fourth of all of the celery and 4 carrots, and then a half of an onion, and then a whole bulb of garlic, and a cup of water. And that's what I've been doing for quite a few meals during the colder months. But now I'm throwing in some gold, Yukon Gold potatoes. And so it really makes a whole meal. And I cut the potatoes into fourths so that they will cook at the same time. And I put all that in the Instant Pot with a cup of water for 3 minutes. And I ate that whole thing yesterday. I started at noon and ate part of it. And then last night before I went to bed, I just thought, I want a little bit more. And so I just went and finished it all off because it's all good food. I mean, it's nothing that makes me want to go back and have seconds and thirds, but it's satisfying. And the carrots are so sweet, and the celery is kind of salty, and the potatoes are so meaty, and the garlic is just so squishy. I put the whole
Mhm.
thing in there and just squish it out as I eat it. I'm so simple. But yeah, and then when I go to the farmer's market and I get whatever fresh vegetables are in season locally, I like that. So every Wednesday, I like to have my refrigerator be almost empty. And then on Thursday, when we do our shopping, I just buy whatever vegetables appeal to my eye and bring them home and I eat. So I basically eat out of the refrigerator. I haven't I get my beans out of the cupboard, when I'm going to make a pot of beans. But I haven't opened my spice cabinet all year, and I haven't opened. I have no need for any cupboard really, except for my beans. Um, and a pot on my stove I keep potatoes in. So it's basically just eating everything fresh within a week out of my refrigerator. And if it needs to be cooked, I do like squash, but like my cucumbers or tomatoes or my bell peppers or cauliflower. Cauliflower I usually steam. Ben likes it that way, but you can eat it raw. Broccoli you can eat raw or steamed. So it's just a personal preference.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Marley said, I finally got my Instant Pot. Love it. Gave away the pressure cooker and crock pot I had. Love this. Oh, she's got the Duo Plus. She said it's so
Oh,
quiet. But you can even go into some thrift stores and find them. So you can get the nice Duo Plus one if you like, but even the ones in the thrift store that you find or the older models, they work wonderfully. And if you haven't tried an Instant Pot pressure cooker, electric pressure cooker, it's a wonderful appliance. And now with the holidays coming up, that could be on your wish list.
yeah, yeah. It's great. Like I say, lately I've been taking those little mini potatoes and I just and I have a 8 quart, no 3 quart, which is the small one, but
Hmm.
a couple of packages of those will fill it up, and then just take the whole thing to the potluck. It's very simple. And then when I go to the Mexican restaurant once a week, in fact, Ben's there now, but I go there once a week on Wednesdays, and he orders something, and it comes with a side of rice and beans. So I just eat his beans, and
There you go.
it's no oil. So I've stayed away from the tortilla thing and the chips thing because some people bring chips to this potluck and they'll say, oh, they're just air fried or whatever. And I
Mhm.
said, yes, I know, but I took about 8 of them and put them in a circle. And I realized that 8 of those chips made one whole tortilla. And I said, I could easily eat
Oh,
56 of
yeah.
those chips, and that would be 7 tortillas, which is overboard.
Yeah, yeah.
I just choose not to get started on the chips, even though they're allowed on so many programs. But then there's the whatever. So we each we each get to determine what we're willing to do, and
Mhm.
happy with that. Just be happy with that and be so proud of yourself that you're doing what you choose to do. And later on, if you decide that something's not right for you and you want to leave that out, like we were talking earlier about Dr. Rogers, what can you leave out of your diet, or what can you add to your lifestyle to make it happier? Uh,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so we're creating all the time. We're creating who we are, and we're creating our life, and we're creating the outcome.
Yes, we are. And there's no exception that even during the holidays, especially during the holidays, we are definitely creating the outcome. Well, I wanted to ask the Green Warriors to please click like for what and to show your appreciation for what Esther shared with us today. And we want to talk about how we can find you on social media because you have such a great presence there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have a Facebook group called Esther's Nutritional Journey, and what I offer there is I read a page out of my book. I usually read an affirmation from Louise Hay. And more recently, I was reading from this little gratitude book, and I finished that. So now I'm reading something out of my promise box. It has scripture on one side and a poem on the other. And then I post pictures of what I eat every day so that you can see how much I eat and what I eat, and basically often when I eat it. Um, and I think that, and I do a video. So yeah, that's kind of what I do on Esther's Nutritional Journey. And you're welcome to join. If you want to join, I do ask some questions, like have you listened to Amy, or have you listened to some of these other podcasts? Have you read any of the books, or have you watched any of the podcasts, because those are all great resources to know about. And then I ask you what your goal is. And you don't have to answer the questions, but it's helpful if you do, because then at least I know you're moving towards making some changes. So just answer the questions, and then I will admit you, and then you can come and watch it every day and see what I'm eating and see what I have to say and see what I read from my book.
Yes. And speaking of books, I wanted to tell everybody about your book, and it's called From Donuts to Potatoes. You've offered it several times in our book giveaways, and so a lot of people have won it on this channel. And I have a copy, and you can see I have a little bookmark in there because I like to read. It's very inspirational. And as usual, do you have your book handy, Esther?
I do. Yes, I do.
I love to ask Esther to pick something from her book because it's 365 days worth of inspirational messages. So you can pick a date that you like, today's date, or any day, and or you could just kind of flip through and say, what do I need to hear today? And then pick it. So what do we need to hear today, Esther?
Well, since we're getting close to what we're talking about, let's see what I said 5 years ago on Christmas. The word is gift. I love the story about the little drummer boy because for a long time I didn't know what my gift was, but it made me realize that no talent is too small. Sometimes we compare our talents with others and always seem to come up short. Some people have gold to bring, some can sing, others can paint, and then there are those who create masterpieces in the kitchen. I like those people who know how to give good hugs, and then there are those whose smiles seem to spread from ear to ear. Often an encouraging word fills the bill and gets us through another day. Holding the hand of someone in pain is a great gift too. And of course, phone calls are helpful for people who don't text. Whatever is your rum pum 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 contribution to the story, do it proudly. No gift is too small.
Oh, you guys got to give a heart for that one. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to look for that one to maybe I'll read it because we like to give thanks before we eat at our family gatherings. And that sounds like something nice to share with everyone. Mona said, I love watching Esther's daily post on Facebook. Yes, I do too. And I do wanted to thank Boomer and Beyond Wellness because she gave us a nice shout out here and a super chat. Says happy and healthy holidays to Amy, Be Green with Amy and her staff, and the Green Warriors. Blessings to all. Yes, blessings to you, Angela. So kind and so generous of you to share that with us. And I think I want to make sure I had because I think I had maybe something else that somebody wanted to share. Oh, Barbara just says thanks, Esther. Yes, thanks, Esther. that was so lovely.
I haven't caught up with you on the last book giveaway to find the address of who to send that book
Yes,
to.
we
I will.
did have somebody that won, and I sent her an email to get the information. So we're waiting, and I'll give her a little while, and I'll send her a couple more emails because sometimes it goes in that spam folder or whatever. But if that doesn't happen, then we'll just pick another winner and have fun with
Yeah.
that.
Or if you need another book, I'd be happy to supply that again.
Well, did you hear that, Green Warriors? Esther is going to give another book for another book giveaway. So we are going to put that on my blog. And if you're subscribed to begreenwithamy.com, you will get a notification of that. And I also try to put the notifications on Facebook and YouTube and places like that. So if you don't already have this book or if it's on your wish list, you could enter to try to win a copy of that. Thank you so much. That's so very generous of you, Esther. So much appreciation and love that you bring to the Green Warriors. And
I love what you're doing. Yeah, I love what you're doing. It's wonderful.
I really wanted to thank you so much, Esther, for sharing your wisdom and your practical tips to help us stay healthy and plant-based and joyful this holiday season. And because you gave us strategies to stay on plan and thrive, and you also gave us a lot of food for thought.
Well, think of it this way. We
Hmm.
have to face this dilemma, if you want to call it that, one day at a time.
Yes. Yep. One day at a time, one bite at a time, right? Okay. Well, I wanted to ask you, Esther, what is your final take home message for our green warriors?
Share the love. That's what the world needs,
Hmm.
peace and love. And when we love the animals, we don't want to harm them. And when we love ourselves, we want to eat what's healthy for our bodies and spread the love. People are just hungry for love and use food often to try and satisfy that, but spread the love.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I also wanted to ask the Green Warriors if you could tell us what you're going to remember from what Esther talked about today. I think share the love is a wonderful thing to remember, but if there's something that maybe stuck in your mind, you can put that in the comments so that this way, people who are coming on after the live broadcast, they can look and see what we talked about and what was so inspirational. I also wanted to thank Just Task Voice. She did the promo, she did the countdown. She did so much to help make this broadcast successful and getting the word out. And she actually had something prepared for today, but she's having a little computer problem. So she couldn't get it up in time for the broadcast. But that's okay because she did tell me who's coming up next with this thumbnail that she created. And then I get to do the voice. So Just Task Voice, show us who's coming up next with the thumbnail that you created. And there you go. That's who is coming up next. I am just so excited about it because coming up, my hubby Rick is back with a holiday recipe demo sharing festive, whole food, plant exclusive, SOS free dishes that are delicious, nutritious, and perfect for the season. So please join us Wednesday, December 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific on Be Green with Amy live. Now I can't show justice to how Just Has Voice does it, but I gave it my best shot. But it's going to be really, really, really nice. So I always have a lot of fun in the kitchen with Rick, and it seems like the Green Warriors are really enjoying what he has to share with us. But most of all, I want to thank you, Green Warrior, for joining us today. Your engagement and your support make these discussions meaningful and impactful. And I hope that you're feeling inspired to take a closer look at your food choices and what you're going to do during the holidays and the choices that you're going to make some positive changes for your health and your well-being. Because remember, every bite we take, even during the holidays, it's an opportunity to nourish our bodies and, like Esther, become the healthiest versions of ourselves. So please stay tuned for more empowering content. Please subscribe to my channel. Check out Esther's Facebook. And please share our message with others who you think can benefit because together as Green Warriors, we can make a meaningful difference in the world. And I wanted to offer to all of you, if you go to my website, begreenwithamy.com/join, I'll send you 5 free recipes, whole food plant exclusive SOS free recipes, and you'll get them every few days. You'll get one in your inbox. Plus, you'll have some fun pictures of things that I like to do and share. And as usual, I would like to invite all of you, and of course, Esther, to go ahead and take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder and squeeze, because that's a hug from me to you. It's a hug from me to you, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I gotta do some more. So type in the chat my tagline so you can join Esther and me in what we're going to say. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So until I see all of you again, remember, be strong, be well, and be
Green.
green. Thank you so much, Esther. Happy holidays to
Thank
you and
you.
Ben and your family. Thank you, Green Warriors. And I really hope that we'll get to see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.
Now you can listen to Be Green with Amy expert interviews wherever you go. Listen while walking, meal prepping, or traveling. Find Be Green with Amy on Apple, Google, Alexa, Amazon, or virtually anywhere you find podcasts. Be strong, be well, and be